All right, well, welcome everyone. And we're glad that you're able to be with us today.
Recording in progress.
I am Stephanie Stenner. I'm currently the president of Acure and will be president through June. And then Loranda Howard Coleman will be taken over as president starting in July. I will take a minute to say that we are going to be holding elections. We're going to add 3 new spots to our steering committee, and we're going to also request people if they're interested in serving as president. However, we do like you to be on the steering committee before you do that, just so that you can kind of get a little understanding about how things work and whatever, and so you don't just get thrown into the mire and have to figure it out. So, but we do encourage you, anyone who's interested in being on the steering committee, the more the merrier. I mean, honestly, if we get more than 3 people who want to be on there, I'm pretty sure we're going to say, okay, great. We'd love to have you. We also have some subcommittees. Generally, the people on the steering committee are on the subcommittees. So bottom line, we have a membership committee, which we are expanding to include mentorship as well. And for next year, we sort of had that, and then we lost it, and it's been a little bit unstructured, but we're going to try to get that back. And then we also have a social media marketing committee, which basically deals with our website and just all of that stuff. And we have a professional development committee that works to set up our professional development content. And so if you have an interest in any of those things, please let us know. Because again, we're happy to have as many of us participate as possible. And if nothing else, ask questions on the group, answer questions on the group. When you do respond to a question that other people might be interested in that isn't specific to someone, please respond to the whole group, because you never know who's out there watching and listening. And so your little bit of information might be helpful to them. So other than that, of course, we missed everyone who wasn't able to be at the SAU meeting. We hope you'll be able to be there next year. It is an exceptionally beneficial meeting, in my opinion, the most important one for a program coordinator, especially a new program coordinator. But even if you've been a program coordinator for a while, you're going to get more out of that meeting than any of the others. You're going to get more than you'll get out of ACGME. It's just very general. And the SAU meeting is all about urology. So you can't leave without something from that meeting. So I do hope you'll try to join us next year. I hear it's going to be on the West Coast, which could be Arizona or even Las Vegas. Probably not Las Vegas again, but somewhere like that, out that way. So with all that said, I'm going to turn it over to Denise, and she's going to introduce our keynote speaker. And we are recording this, so we will have it put up on our YouTube channel after today's meeting.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm super excited to see everybody here. Thank you all for coming. I'm especially excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Krista Lombardo-Klefos, MBA, Graduate Medical Education Administrative Director at the Cleveland Clinic. So I'll read you a little bit about Krista's background. She received her bachelor's degree from Bowling Green State University and master's degree from Cleveland State University, and has been working in the graduate medical education field at the Cleveland Clinic since 2008. She entered the department as the GMEC coordinator shortly after assuming the role of MedHub program manager, and then in 2013 became the accreditation manager, promoted to accreditation administrator in 2018. In 2021, she was named Administrative Director, Program Administration Service Line. Her team manages the accreditation activities of 200 programs and provides education consulting services to the DIO, GMAC program directors, and program coordinators. From 2016 to 2020, she was the project manager of the Pursuing Excellence Grant at the Cleveland Clinic, received from the ACGME as an innovator. Mrs. Lombardo-Klefos has had multiple presentations and posters at national GME meetings and co-authored 2 handbooks, Clinical Competency Committees Made Simple and the Complete Guide to Continuous GME Accreditation with colleagues. In July of 2019, she began serving a 4-year term to the ACGME's Coordinator Advisory Group. In 2021, she was honored to be named AMI Council of Institutional Leaders Chair-Elect, which begins in 2023. So thank you so much for joining us, Krista. We're really excited to have you talk, and I will turn it over to you if you are able to share your slides.
Yes, thank you for that awesome introduction. I'm going to try to share. Let's see if it works. Okay. Let's see if it works. Do you guys see a slide deck? Okay. Now let me just move this screen because you guys are over here. So my camera's here and this is here. I'm just going to try to move it once just to see if it works. Did it work? Okay. So thank you all for having me here today. I am with a cold. So children. So if you can't hear me or need me to stop or anything, please let me know. But I'll try to power through. And I do have 2 separate presentations, so I will pause at the end. First, I'll talk a little bit about an update from the ACGME Coordinator Advisory Group. And then the second presentation will be a little bit about professional development. And I have a little bit of homework for you guys if you want to do it. So I will start with the next slide. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So as you know, Denise mentioned, I'm Krista Lombardo-Klefos and I work at the Cleveland Clinic, and I'm really glad to be invited here today to your meeting. And I think it's great that you reached out to the ACGME Coordinator Advisory Group email and asked them to have someone come and just update, you know, on what the CAG, we call it the CAG, on what the CAG has been doing over the past couple of years. So there'll be 2 parts of the presentation. Like I said, we'll do the Coordinator Advisory Group and then we'll do the professional development afterwards. So I just want to share with you a little bit about the members on the team. So I don't know if any of these names jump out to you besides my name that's on there. So this is the current group of the ACGME CAG. So there's 12 of us on the group. It's really been an awesome experience and made us all grow very well professionally. There's a hyperlink at the bottom, and I did give these slides to Denise so she can send these out to you afterwards. So if you want more information about the Coordinator Advisory Group that I provided today, or how to reach any of the members, that hyperlink will take you to our page on the ACGME website. But these are the individuals that were put forth for 2019 to 2023. So what is the ACGME Coordinator Advisory Group? So it is made up of 12 members. So there's 3 hospital-based, 3 medical, 3 surgical, and 3 institutional coordinators that sit on the CAG. We all had to go through a nomination process. So there was a form, a personal letter, a way to provide a CV. Our program director or DIO, depending on our situation, had to nominate us. We formally meet twice a year at the ACGME headquarters, and then we do have virtual meetings with the smaller teams that we work on for the projects that we're identified with. It's been a great way to know other program coordinators throughout the United States. Like if you saw on the slide before, we're from all over the place. All of us vary in structure, just like I'm sure you all on the call. Some of us are from larger institutions, some of us are from smaller institutions. We all do things a little bit differently, but it's really a great place to share and learn together. Our cohort was the second group to work with the ACGME, and we just select those individuals that will be the third group. We really are there to advise the ACGME. We've had the opportunity to see the Learn at ACGME. I don't know if any of you utilize that distance education platform before it became live. So we were their pilot test bunnies, if you will. It's a free resource, and I do include it in end of my slide deck. So sorry, I think someone might not be muted. Sorry. You know, we're helping them achieve their overall goal is just to further the ACGME mission. Oh, let me go back. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Too many. We really advise them on things such as the coordinator role and the common program requirements. So I know that was a big hot topic over the last couple of years. We were on a bunch of committees that, you know, put our voice forward. So the GME community voice in terms of the program coordinator being part of the leadership team. We advise them on their ACGME website and the e-communications that you get every Tuesday. So they redesigned the layout of the e-communications based on feedback from the previous CAG and from our CAG. We also have the opportunity to work with them on workshops that they currently offer. So I don't know if any of you have taken advantage of the workshops that the ACGME has for current coordinators. Usually they're new in your specialty, probably a year or two, or for those of you that may work in the institutional office. The biggest item that we were most recently able to help them with, and hopefully you all saw it and responded to it, was the wellness survey that they sent out. Our team was instrumental in reviewing the questions and just making sure that got out to the right places and the right people. So hopefully you took that survey. The results will be shared at the ACGME national meeting. So if you are there, there's a session that's just going to go over those well-being reviews, which was an awesome experience for us because, as you all know, coordinator wellness is just as important as all the other wellness that everyone is working on across the institutions. These are some of our accomplishments. We were able to review sessions for proposals for all of the ACGME conferences. And these were sessions that program coordinators like yourself put forth. So for their day meeting they have before their national meeting, you know, they ask us to peer review those. We also participate in calls like this. You know, we regularly get called upon to provide an update on what the CAG is doing and just speak about our role. So we did do many of those. Hopefully you've seen the new coordinator timeline. If not, that hyperlink will take you to where that is on the ACGME website. With the input of everyone on our group and individuals at our home institutions, we really wanted to try to give everybody out there in the community, you know, what you should be doing when in terms of a residency and a fellowship, because they're very different and they are customizable to what you need. So they're just basics. Like at this point in time, you would start worrying about orientation. At this point in time, you'll start worrying about, you know, signing people up to take their board exams and so on and so forth. So they really are just guides that you can then take and develop into whatever you want to. And we also were able to have membership on some of their awards committees and some of their other national committees that usually the coordinator voice isn't heard on. So one of us would be at the table to give the opinion of the GME community program coordinator. So I think that was just a really great way for them to incorporate us into their everyday work that they have been doing. And then here's some of our ongoing projects. So I did not know, full disclosure, before I started at the CAG role, that they had a special page on their JGME for just program coordinators. So they do. That is the link to it. I do encourage you to go to that, and I encourage you to submit your work. So this is for coordinators, by coordinators, and regardless of what your title is, if you're a program coordinator, program manager, you know, training administrator, we have varying titles out there, but it's for the individuals in your roles. So if there's something that you're doing or collectively your team wants to work on together, you know, go ahead and submit that to the JGME. They don't get reviewed by the CAG. They do go through the regular peer review process for the editorial system, but they do post those and highlight those on their website. So it really is a great way to get your name out there or what you're doing in terms of your organization. We are also trying to finish before our term ends in May, a handbook, which will kind of go piggyback up to the timeline. So here's the timeline of things you want to do, but then here's some pearls in the handbook on to accomplish those. So we all know ads update is usually between July and August. So, you know, what are some tips and tricks to get that ads update, you know, in sooner, done a little bit faster, or just have another eyes on it? So we're developing this handbook that hopefully will be released in the next couple of months. And then speaking of the well-being, so due to the results of the survey, there is now a research survey committee. So they developed the survey was sent out to the coordinators. So now that survey is going to be analyzed, and there's going to be some research done on that, some papers published, and some meetings. Like I said, they're going to present it at the ACGME meeting. And 2 of our current members are actually going to continue on to sit on that committee, which I think is just an awesome thing that the ACGME did. And Stuart Salvin, who's leading that charge, who's really committed to kind of seeing that through. And you get a little sneak peek here. So these are all the names that were on the CAG. So maybe you know someone on this list, or maybe you can reach out. Now you know me, or you might know somebody else. So this is the 3rd iteration. The 2023-2026 names were just released. So maybe you know someone on that group. The CAG is led by Cheryl, Carrie, and Amy. So they are the RRC for anesthesia, radiation oncology in the transitional years. So probably not individuals that you deal with, but I did get a deeper appreciation, I think, just for the review committees and for the ACGME staff. They really are there to help programs. Like, you can reach out to them at any time and ask them questions, hypothetical or real, and they will help you the best they can. You know, they do answer their phone, they answer their email. They're just a really great resource. They're a really great group of individuals. So it's been, you know, a tremendous honor and pleasure that I've got to work with these 3 and know them a little bit. But I will say, hopefully you reach out to your RC individuals and aren't afraid to pick up the phone or send them an email. They really are nice people. So please don't, you know, feel afraid to do that. But these are the members. So I wanted to leave you with that resource. And I think those are all the slides I had about the CAG. So are there any questions that came in through the chat, or anything that you guys want to ask? You can go off mute and ask me anything about the coordinator advisory group.
So your institution obviously has been very supportive of you attending, and you said you attend in person once or twice a year?
Yeah, so these
Yeah.
meetings are twice a year, and actually all of this is funded by the ACGME.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so if that was one limiting factor, I know they did a call for applications in August. So they will do another call in late 2025. So if you're interested, you know, this is fully funded from probably the accreditation dollars that go in from each institution. So it's the ACGME way of giving back to the community. So they fully fund everything. My organization only had to fund my time, but they weren't responsible for any costs, which I know is a huge situation going on right now.
That's great to know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Did anything come in through the chat, or I can move on?
Oh,
Hi there,
yes,
this is
there-
Natasha.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Hi.
you go ahead.
There
Denise,
was
you can go
something
ahead
in the
first.
chat. Okay, sorry. There was something in the chat. Someone just asked where they can find the timelines.
Oh yeah, so I can go back a couple slides. If you click on this when the slides get out, it's right there. But if you go, I think, to the ACGME website, and then you go to the coordinator advisory group, or under like the institutional office, there will be a timeline call out there too. But it is in the slides. You can just click on the hyperlink right there.
Hi there, this is Natasha Brooks from UT Southwestern Medical Center.
Hi.
Hey, I will be going to ACGME this year, and I'm really excited about it. I've looked at the agenda, and I'm really excited about all the classes I'll be taking. And I'm also looking forward to meeting, you know, some leaders, you know, hopefully at ACGME, because I do have an interest in the CAG. And I actually do know LaToya Wright. She's at our institution, and she's awesome, and I love her. But I guess one of my questions was, is there going to be, I know that UT is going to do their own little program coordinator meetup, and then there's also some urology coordinators that we've talked about we're going to meet up. But at the leadership meeting at the end of the conference, is there going to be an opportunity to meet other coordinators in the CAG?
Oh, that is a very good question. And I should have actually said that. It is actually not going to be at the end. It's going to be on the first day. So there's the coordinator forum on the first day. There's a networking reception right after that coordinator forum, and the ACGME is going to have tables. And one of those tables is going to be the CAG. So I don't know who's going to be at the table I'm going. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some past members, and there might be some other future members from the 2023-2026 group. But there will be a table, a networking table, after that first day. I think that's the Thursday. of the conference. So right after that program coordinator session's over, they're going to have a networking reception. So we will have a table there. Feel free to stop by. And if you do, want to reach out, the leadership will be Cheryl, Carrie, and Amy. So if you see them at all at the conference, they would be the ones to ask about next steps on becoming a CAG member, after the 23-26 session is over, and talk to LaToya. She's awesome.
Yes, she is. Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I think there was one other hand up.
I put it down. I was just going to ask for the links in the meeting so we could look at them while she was talking instead of waiting for the slides, but thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Sorry.
That's okay. I get it.
Yep. Yeah, and if you have questions after, I put my contact information in the last slide, so feel free to reach out to me after too. I'm happy to direct you into the right place. And I will be at the ACGME conference, so myself and Vicki, who is an orthopedic surgery coordinator, we're actually giving a 15-minute overview during that first day coordinator session about the CAG, very similar slides to these, and we'll be at the networking table too. So you can at least come see me and then come meet Vicki.
Excellent.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have anything to do with the ACGME Coordinator Learn series?
The Learn series that's on Learn at ACGME,
Yes.
or the workshops?
No, the Learn at ACGME.
No, they had us pilot the program, but to my knowledge, no one on our CAG is working on that. We do have some input, and we're teaching faculty on the live or virtual sessions they do for the new coordinator workshop and the institutional coordinator workshop. But I would just reach out to the contact at Learn at ACGME if you had direct questions on that.
Okay.
Anything else? And we can, you can ask me later too, that's fine. Okay. So I'm going to now see if I can skip this. Yep. So I'm going to shift focus a little bit and just talk about some professional development, because I think the CAG was really great professional development for me. But I do like to just use this. I use this slide in all of my presentations just so that you can see where I'm coming from. Cleveland Clinic is very large. We are located in Cleveland, Ohio. Which is odd. It's 60 degrees today and it should be snowing. But this is a photo of our campus. We oversee 200 programs. So in the GME office, we oversee the accredited programs. We have 91, and the non-standard programs. We have 109. There could be 1,200 residents and fellows walking around. We have 320 program leadership and 20 people on our staff, but we do head to toe everything for the residents and fellows. So we're their HR onboarding, offboarding, we process in their visas if they need that, as well as do all of the accreditation. So we really are the everything in terms of GME for our organization. On the next slide, I just want to share a little bit about me, just so you kind of know my background and where I came from. I've worked my whole entire career at the Cleveland Clinic. So I've never been anywhere else. I don't know what any other institution is like. I started out right out of college as a medical secretary, which really just taught me management skills and time management. 2 years later, I went back to school and got my MBA, which if any of you are currently in school or went to school and worked a full-time job, you know what a commitment that is, and time management lessons you learn there. And then I stumbled upon GME and I never left. So I've really worked in GME since 2008. I started out as a GMAC coordinator. I loved the profession, not only at Cleveland Clinic, but nationally in the GME community. I really felt like this was part of a home for me, a network of caregivers that are just, there for one of another, always willing to share, brainstorm and to lift each other up. I've held a variety of roles within GME, ultimately landing in the position that I'm in now. I've, got to assist in MedHub implementation. That's what we use as our RMS, which is a massive change. And then I found the world of accreditation and really, really loved the world of accreditation. I was the institutional coordinator for a number of years. Problem solved more issues just like you all on a day-to-day basis, even still now. I was, able to help with clear visits through our Pursuing Excellence as an innovator. And then most recently just helped the team establish our non-standard training recognition with the ACGME. I've only ever worked with 2 DIOs. So our DIO retired about 1.5 years ago. And then our new DIO started And I was really able to be part of that implementation process, which was just really nice. For those of you that have worked with multiple PDs or APDs, how that changeover can be a little bit nerve-wracking. But none of this was really just me. It was all a GME community helping me along, communicating. So, just wanted to share a little bit my journey, and hopefully you can reflect on your journey and how it got you to the position that you're in. And throughout the journey, I became part of, organizations. First with AMI, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And then with the ACGME, which you heard me talk about with the coordinator advisory group. I've never been a program coordinator in any medical discipline, but I work with a lot of them. But I think it's really awesome that all of you are taking part of your national organization. That is really something that I stress to all of our program coordinators. If there's a group out there of like-minded people and like jobs, go and join them, work with them, network with them, meet them. You are the group that will help each other through everything. Your institutional office probably tries to help, but you will have unique things specific to your specialty that only individuals in your specialty will know. So I think it is awesome that you are taking part of this and took the time today. Why do we talk about professional development? I took this directly from the ACGME Common Program Requirements. And, it was just recently that they added the program coordinator role into the requirement. Sometimes it was just as a resource, and sometimes it was there as a percentage, and they really made you a key member of this leadership team. So I really hope you, let that sink in and think about that. Your PD, your APD, if you have one, and how many trainees you have, are part of a team that's leading the program. And I know there's a lot of hard work that you all do each and every day to make the program run. You're like the heart of the program, and I'll get to that in a little bit. And you're all pulled in different directions and probably have competing deadlines. And again, that's why I think it's just really awesome and great that you guys are here today to work about your professional development and meet individuals in your specialty. But really, I think professional development isn't just because it's in a requirement, although that's great because you have to meet the requirement, but it's really for your personal and professional growth. If I never put myself out there and joined AMI, I wouldn't be speaking to you today because I would have never been part of the ACGME CAG, and then you guys would have never have met me. So I know you're in a unique job title and a position, but there's an entire network of individuals out there that are thirsty for knowledge. So if you don't live in the GMO world, you really don't understand what we're doing day to day, but I think the networking and the excitement of the work we do is just really great, showing off the innovations that each unique institution is doing that someone else can learn and grow from. So I think, professional development really is for your personal growth, and then it contributes to the overall GME community as a whole as well. And I wanted to spend some slides talking about what we've done at our organization or my organization to focus on program development for our coordinators, or for professional development for our coordinators. So we started what's called the GME PAC. We have developmental opportunities and activities that went way back from when I joined GME in 2008. We had what's called a brown bag lunch series where people would literally get together in a conference room and we would talk about things and share things. That was discontinued in 2015. And then we created the GME PAC. And we call it the Graduate Medical Education Program Advisory Council. And it's still alive today. Actually, we have a meeting at 2:00 today. So we do hold still monthly meetings. We initially invited 7 program coordinator representatives from our largest institutes. So those programs that had a core program and some subspecialties to really design some training for our program coordinators, to develop opportunities for them, and to identify best practices and where we could share along the continuum for all of our programs. We developed a mission statement, which you can see here. It's to promote GME program compliance and develop standards to ensure a quality educational environment within the Cleveland Clinic Health System. We have not changed that mission statement. We also established 3 goals. So to create awareness of the role of the program coordinators. I think that's vital because there's a lot of individuals in every organization. If you're the only coordinator in your area, you have no idea what you're doing. So, just to kind of make awareness across the organization of what role you play and why you're so vital. Also to provide a support system. So in terms of training and developmental opportunities. And then, like I said, to collaborate and define best practices. So the first thing that they did, and remember, this was a group of coordinators that got together, is they created a responsibility listing. And this is a screenshot of just 3 of them, and I just put a couple bullets on them. So there's a much larger Excel document that we got together, but it outlined the task, the frequency, and the area. Our coordinators felt this was necessary because sometimes they report to their program department and institute. They don't report to GME here. So if you're in a small program, you're the only one doing what you're doing. So their supervisor and management really didn't know their role or what tasks they had to perform. So this helped us also as GME leaders better understand all of the directions that you're pulled in as a program coordinator and the jobs that you do. Hence why I think it was just really great why the ACGME added you all to the leadership team the past couple of years. You can take this and create this for your organization, and maybe you already have it for yourself or for your team, but it was just one thing that they wanted to do. And then they also developed skills needed. So this again is a snapshot, and these are not all comprehensive. There's more in the document. I'm sure there's some of these that you do, some of these that you're not needed to do. It just depends on your role and where you fit. Again, this is just what our program advisory council came up with. It's a lot, but you do a lot. So, and the position has evolved. I've been involved with GME, like I said, since 2008. And in those 14 years, we really had to pivot a lot, whether that's new ACGME requirements, board recommendations that they put out, not even mentioning, the 2.5 years of COVID. So really strong professional development and being part of a GME community to share and to find ways to do things easier and better is, I think, one of the ways that we can enhance the community. There's no shame in taking something that someone else does and just tweaking it for yourself. This next slide, I've used in a couple presentations. It's an old one, but I still think it's a great slide. These are some of the hats that you wear. So, in one day you're confident talking to your residents and fellows about whatever their issues are, but you also have to monitor their compliance. So you're wearing 2 hats at that point. Then you have to go figure out how to do your orientation and graduation and run some data analysis and work your RMS system. Sometimes those are all within the same day. Sometimes they're not. But you do wear many, many hats. And I just wanted to say congratulations and thank you for everything that you do as part of your leadership team. And these were the things that our programs coordinators thought were very, very important to them. And I know sometimes it could feel like you're on like a circus or like a carousel or that like old toy, that stretchy thing that you could just move in 15,000 different directions. So you may be some of these, you may be all of these, you may be more of these. But above all, I think is communication. So I think there's no such thing as too much communication. You just can't take it all in at one time. There's a research study that I heard once that said your attention span's only 10 to 12 minutes. So we've been going longer than that. So hopefully you're still with me. But after that, people tend to kind of drop off, but just wanted to share that. So wanted to focus on you for a little bit and what you can do. So these are just my tips, I think GME is not a profession. It's, it is not a position. It's a profession. Sorry, I said that wrong. And you're here to start your development journey. I think that's awesome. I think finding a mentor, I know that's tossed around a lot, but I think that's really key. Find those 1 or 2 people that can help you at whatever stage of your position that you're in, regardless of who that is. Personal board of directors. This is something that I learned in one of the leadership courses I took here at the Cleveland Clinic. I had no idea what that meant before, but these are individuals. So think of a boardroom, just like a round table with some chairs around it. And it's like your boardroom. So who are your people that can provide you support on your leadership journey? It doesn't have to be your boss or, your program director. It could be whoever you want to just pitch ideas to or get like an opinion that is valid. So on mine, I have my prior boss. She doesn't work here anymore. She works at a different organization. I have a friend who completely works outside of education. I have a college roommate who I still keep in contact with, and I have a couple others, but none of them work within the GME profession minus one. So if I have ideas or thoughts or things that, I want an honest opinion about, I'll ask them. I don't have to ask all of them, But they listen and provide their opinion to me. So I really do think everyone needs a personal board of directors. So if you don't have one, if you've never heard of that term, I do hope you look into it. And then any kind of educational classes or development classes you can enroll in. Most organizations have those for free. So I know at the Cleveland Clinic, we have a whole group that will do like project management classes or Excel classes or anything that we need skills in, that you can just, go in for free. It's good to learn that information. And also you can usually network and find other individuals at your organization or sometimes at different organizations at those courses. And then these are some things that just worked for me. So I just wanted to share. Ask to be at the table. Very rarely do people say no. And I think sometimes people forget to include everybody. It's much harder now in the virtual world, I think, too. They set up meetings and they're like, oh, I forgot to add so and so and so and so. Just ask if you hear about a meeting happening, or, if your program's not allowing you to be part of like the PEC or the CCC, we've had that here. It's like, just ask, like, go to your program director and say, this is why I need to be at that meeting. This is why I need to be there. Or, oh, you're making a major decision on, if we're going to expand our program or not, you should be at that table. A good example that I can provide you is I was the project manager on our Pursuing Excellence grant. And the team, the leadership team, would go to meetings. So after the first meeting, I went to our DIO and I said, why didn't I get to go to the meeting? I'm doing all the legwork and doing all the work for the team. And he's just like, oh, I assumed you just didn't want to go because it's, 3 or 4 days, it's taking time away from your family. And I'm like, no, I would like to go hear what's being said firsthand rather than hearing about it after the fact. So if I didn't ask, I probably would have been excluded for the next 3 or 4 years and missed out on a tremendous learning opportunity. So just ask. You have a lot of knowledge to share, and also don't be afraid to speak up. I think one thing is just be genuine when you do. People know if you're not, but don't be afraid to speak up. Sometimes it's like, if you're not at the table, you're on the table. So if you're not providing your opinion, you're going to be left out. And then I can't stress enough just to go back to communicate and figure out what works for you. Like I said, I have a new DIO. He's so different than my old DIO. My old DIO, we had like in-person meetings and we were like run a list. Our new DIO, we have huddles. I can text him. Like, it's just a different communication style. So find that communication style that works with your leadership team and then run with it. And then I do have a little homework assignment if you want to use it. And I did send this to Denise too. And you don't have to, but it's something that I also learned from one of my leadership classes. It's just a professional development plan. So what do you want to do? So, come up with your own SWOT. Like, I know we do SWOTs for everything else. You have a SWOT for your program, probably a SWOT for, 5,000 other things. But what about you? Like, what are your personal strengths? What do you find as your threats, your opportunities? And then develop one goal, right? One. There doesn't need to be 15 on here, just one. Make those little SMART goals, and then just find an accountability buddy. That's what they told us in the leadership class, and it does work. Just find one person you want to share this with and have them make you accountable to check in at 30, 60, or 90 days. And maybe those are dates you don't want to use. Maybe you want to use 45, 90, and like 160 or something. You can use whatever you want. This is a Word document. I'll give it to you. You can play around with it and do what you want with it. But it's really just taking time and focusing on you versus, the program or something else you have to do. And just kind of like some self-reflection. And then lastly, I just have some resources for you. So here's, I put the journal again there, and then I put the Learn at ACGME. And then I did just want to put a little plug for AMI. For those of you that don't know about AMI, if you wanted to go there and learn a little bit more about it, I had no idea what it was until my boss sent me to one of the conferences. And again, it was a tremendous learning opportunity to me. It was my first national meeting. It was in 2013 or 2014. I went by myself. I was super nervous. I didn't know anybody, but I met some really awesome people. So I think, especially in the GME community, you can just sit down to someone and talk to them, and they don't bite. They're not going to say, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I found really great, seat mates, if you will, when we've been in rows. So it's just kind of crazy how, someone pushed me to go to something. I went, I met a couple people, and then something awesome happened out of it. So I think if you don't take those jumps and leaps of faith, some things won't happen for you. So that's my journey. Those are my tips and tricks. You don't have to use them. You can use them. Completely up to you. And then lastly, I just want to say thank you and feel free to reach out to me. That's my email, that's my cell phone. If you have anything, like I said, I'll be at the ACGME meeting. Come say hi to me. Hopefully I don't have a cold and sound a little bit different then. And thank you again for just allowing me to, crash your meeting for, 45 minutes today. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you very much, Krista. We really appreciate you taking the time to come to our meeting and share all of that information and your knowledge with us. It's really helpful. It's really, I'm sure, opened up a lot of ideas and things for our members. And so I just wanted to thank you for that. And because I know you're busy like we all are. So it's not easy to give up an hour or more of your day. Preparation and all that is not even included. So thanks
No.
again.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me. And I like doing this stuff. Like I said, the GME community, there's some awesome people out there. So thank you for reaching out to the CAG and, asking for this information to be shared.
Anyone else have any questions? I'll ask a question, I guess.
Sure.
Since your role is in GME, do you have a fairly close relationship with most of the coordinators in your institution?
Some more than others, to be honest, just in terms of what my role is now. I think, individuals in our office do, because we do everything for the programs. So, we put the people in HR, so we have to work with them when they get the match lists and stuff. We do all the compliance. So we do have a fairly good relationship with all the coordinators out there.
Excellent. Thank you. Priyanka, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Krista, for amazing presentation. Really wonderful resources you've shared, some, that we did not know of. I'm Priyanka, by the way. I'm the Senior Director in Mount Sinai, New York. I loved your journey. It's very inspirational. So the question I have is, in your role of your, continued CAG role, are there opportunities to collaborate for scholarship between coordinators or at the national level? Because one thing I struggle with is, some like collaboration opportunities. I mean, I know Amy and Amy Miller-Juvie and a couple other people, we have collaborated on different projects together, but it's very hard to diversify and kind of just come together for multi-institutional studies, say on coordinator or GME topics, so to speak. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because the CAG group that we were part of, we literally thought about that at our last meeting. We're like, we should work on something, but we didn't get there until the third year. So, anything that we do will probably be presented, or pitched for like the next ACGME meeting because we missed the deadline. But it's interesting because that's usually sort of the last thought on people's mind, but it's usually the one that should be at the forefront. And it does take a tremendous amount of time and resources. I've worked with other individuals. I've met more individuals who want to do more of the scholarly pursuit and the presentations and posters and such through AMI. It seems like that network, sometimes you'll hook up with people that are like, oh, I'm doing something similar. Let's put an abstract together, or let's do a session together. But it's interesting with the CAG group, we didn't get to that point until the last meeting. So hopefully in the future, and it is a lesson learned too. So hopefully the next group, publishes some of their information and shares it with, the community a little bit more broadly than we have.
Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions? Well, I will definitely share everything that you shared with me, Krista. And again, thank you so much for telling us all about the Coordinator Advisory Group. I have long been interested in what it is that they have been doing. So that was awesome. And your professional development trajectory. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out. I'll stop sharing. And you guys have a really great meeting. I know you have, an awesome agenda for the rest of the day. So I hope you enjoy it and, take some time offline, don't do your emails and everything else you have to do. I know that's like the hardest part about these meetings, but, give yourself the gift of time to kind of engage and network too. So it was awesome being here. Thank you again.
Thanks,
So
Krista.
if we can all unmute and give Krista a round of
Aw.
applause.
I
for
can't clap
her-
too loud. I'm in an
Okay.
office, but yeah.
Thank you guys.
Good luck, Krista.
Thanks.
Thank
Hope
you
to
so
see some
much.
of you at the ACGME conference.
Thank you.
All right, so we're a little early, but if Terry and Denise are ready, I suppose we can just move right along. I think what I'm going to do is stop the recording and restart it in between each section so that we can have, instead of one really long thing that people have to get through, could be shorter. So I'm going to stop it right now real quick.